We would like to welcome you to our first video of our best practices for maintaining in-person 21st century programming during the COVID-19 pandemic. Our program serves over 700 children between New York's border with Canada and the foothills of the Adirondacks. Our communities are remote with the 7 school districts, 11 program sites which were identified in a regional needs analysis. We also play a significant role in serving children who are military dependents, as their primary caregiver is either active duty or a civilian employee with the 10th Mountain Division at Fort Drum. This is the U.S. military's most frequently deployed installation. It played a significant role in Iraq and Afghanistan in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom across more than 20 deployments.
When all of our schools and our programs closed down in March of 2020, we took a lot of time to break down and explore what our options were for virtual programs, putting together lists of ideas, and here's some possible program models. So the ideas that were successful, we took a look at them. Why were they successful? Why do we think they appealed to kids and parents? The ones that weren't, what was it maybe that wasn't working with those? And could we make some alteration, or should we just completely scrap that idea and try something new with the resources that we have? Kids are very resilient. I think that's become very obvious, whether it's masks or social distancing, whatever the requirements are, they do those things. I think they're happy to just be there.
The youth really want to be together, and they're missing those social interactions with one another. As far as adapting to some of the standards that we need to follow, the hand sanitizer, social distancing, face coverings, they've adapted very, very well.
We just ran through all the different scenarios of how to social distance, how to mask, how to sanitize, set up the routines, and then addressed it with the kids in the first couple weeks, and it's been running like clockwork since.
We've been intentional about our programming by looking at what we think kids need during this very different year. Some kids really need high level of academic support to get through this time. Other kids are actually getting more individualized academic support through their parents at home. They exist on a spectrum as far as what they're needing academically. So some of our programs helped kids with the virtual tools that they would be using, spending more time showing them how to use their Chromebooks, use things like Google Classroom.
I've noticed that the students, when we get them, thoroughly enjoy coming to a program. We've had almost no discipline problems this year in program. Not that we had a lot before, but I'm saying we're down to almost zero. They thoroughly enjoy the program. They want to be here. This is a big part of their day. And I not only hear this from students, but I hear it from parents.
All of our schools are licensed under the school-age child care license, and we were getting guidance there. We were also getting guidance from the New York State Department of Health. We were getting guidance from the governor's office. We took all that and really redesigned or revamped our programs in order to have a safe environment for the students.
Planning is different. It used to be that we could do programming with teamwork and doing things together and sharing materials and of course working one-on-one as a group. Now the kids have to be separated, so we have to just alter the program so that the kids can still do it while social distancing.
Our most drastic example is in one of our schools. They placed us in the school auditorium and we made it work. So I think working with each of the schools, partnering, talking through the solutions, that was probably our biggest challenge.
Actually a great solution to providing a space where kids could socially distance and spread out and do some different activities while still having access to all of our programmatic staff. So I think out of that actually came some unique ideas that carried over to some of our other program sites. Our engagement of youth has really been a challenge. We have two main models for programming. One is in person and one is virtual. And the in-person model is challenging for some parents because you have schools broken up into cohorts where kids are only attending 2 days a week in a lot of cases. And so for some parents, That doesn't really fulfill their needs of a place for their child to go 5 days a week. And so they might opt not to send their child for that reason. Other reasons they might not send their child in person is, the obvious, they're concerned about COVID-19 and exposure. So those are some of the things we deal with our in-person programs. With our virtual programs, first virtual programming was exciting, I think. It was different and new. But as time went on, we found that kids are a little bit tired of the virtual programming because they're getting a lot of it in school. Parents might be concerned about screen time. In some cases, kids don't have access to good internet services or devices. And so all of these things have made it challenging for our programs to work through and meet the targets that we're trying to do for our grant. But we continue to strategize and come up with ways to do that. It's just been a continuous effort to explore those options. We know a lot of kids are at home. Maybe their parents are having them watch their younger siblings. So we offered a virtual babysitters camp, and that was very popular. That was another way for us to take a close look at what kids really need during this time. We've also done a lot of outdoor programming. You don't have to worry so much about the social distancing requirements or everything being disinfected and sanitized. They can kind of be themselves a little bit more.
The key is to offer impactful programming, but it also comes down to knowing your students, knowing what they like to do, and knowing what you can offer them, both in an in-person programming atmosphere and a virtual atmosphere.
The other thing that we have done to adapt is to look for community partners that could provide us other places to meet youth. So we already had very strong community partners with the schools, but we also were finding some limitations in how many kids from each district would come to our programs. So we worked to explore adding another program site at our local YMCA. They had a lot of kids within our school districts that we were aiming to serve, so we worked through a program modification process with New York State Education Department. That was very helpful because it turns out the YMCA had over 60 kids attending for full days.
The hands-on activities are a gold standard for the program. This is what students want to do. Yes, they know they have to do their academics, but it's the enrichment and life skills portion of the program the students come for.
Every time a change is needed, what we do is we meet as a team and we break down all the aspects of the requirements, and we really approach it as if we're a task force working to come up with a strategy that's going to work.
If there's a barrier, then we need to find a solution. We can't just stop that. We just need to keep those lines of communication open and try to find a solution.
It's taken a lot of continuous reinventing. What strategy can we use to make sure we meet all of the requirements? At no point do we say to ourselves, this can't be done. I think sometimes it feels that way, but we really want to stay positive and just really get down to figuring out how can we make things happen that need to.
The most positive aspect has been the fact that everyone's worked together to make the changes and to be adaptable and to be flexible.
We now have several more program models that we can implement. So we've learned a lot of things. We thought we were adaptable before, but this year we really know that we can be innovative and figure out new ways to accommodate the needs within the community. We've had more positive comments in the last year about our programs than we've probably ever had before. We're hearing it from our school administrators, and you see it every day when you go out to the programs and you see the kids smiling and having fun and really being engaged with the education.